Number 5, if I'm on my dying bed, I have to prepare my will. And actually my will should have been prepared long before. The Prophet ﷺ, as in the hadith of Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, said, it is one of the obligations upon a Muslim not to have 2 nights pass over him without his will written down by his head. Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father, he said that not a single night passed since I had heard this hadith without having my will ready. One would say, Akhi, I don't have anything. What should I do in my will? Well, the writing of a will is complicated because your will has to have all the rights, your rights upon people and their rights upon you. So if I would like to write my will today, what would I say? I gave brother Abdullah 50,000 dirhams to work in business with, to invest. Nobody from my family, usually men, don't tell their wives anything, especially about financial stuff. And this is a good advice. Yani, don't tell your wife anything about your finance. Whatever she needs, you give her. But don't tell her about your income. Don't tell her about your savings. Don't tell her about anything. And she also must not tell her husband about this. I have gazillion phone calls from men and from women in Saudi about this problem. Men abusing their wives, taking their money, building houses with their income and with their savings. And after the house is finished and it's in my name, I get married again. This happens. This is the normal scenario. And likewise, the women, when they know that the husband earns so much and much, out of their interest and love to their husbands, they want more. So I need to change the furniture. I need to go to Geneva for a 2-week summer vacation. I need to change the car. I need some jewelry. I have a wedding to attend. I need a dress. I need this or that. So it's always best to leave the finance separate so that shaitan would not come in. Now, alhamdulillah, if you and your wife are on common terms and you are very well together, it's a different story. I'm talking about generally speaking so that shaitan would not come in. Your will has to display these rights after your death. So you would write, I have 50,000 with Muhammad, he's investing it. I took 10,000 from my mother and my friend gave me 70,000. I'm paying 2,000 every month as in installments. I have the car, I have this. So all financial aspects should be covered. Now, put it in an envelope, seal it, put it in a safe place so that no one would find it. However, if you change your will, you must write that this will erases whatever comes before it. Because it's out of practice. People come to us when their loved one has died with 3 wills, with his signature. Each one contradicting the other, there is no date. So one says, do this, and they say, don't do this. And someone says, well, if you want, do it. If you don't want, don't do it. Which one to choose? So you always, whenever you write a will, let it state that this abrogates whatever came before it, and always clear the date of the will. And you are allowed financially to write a will of 1/3 of your wealth. Any more? No. Any less? Preferably. Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas, may Allah be pleased with him, when he was ill and he had one daughter, so the Prophet came to visit him and he thought that he's going to die. But of course we know that he did not die and he lived after the Prophet ﷺ. So he said, "O Prophet of Allah, I have only one daughter. I don't have any offspring. I don't have any boys. And I have money. What is the share of the daughter in the inheritance?" One third? Half. It is half. It's mentioned in Surah An-Nisa. Inheritance is one of the sciences that are the first to go. So if someone dies and he has a wife, a daughter, and a brother, how do we divide this? The wife gets 1/8, the daughter gets half, and the rest goes to the brother. You know this, of course. Anyhow, so he said, "O Prophet of Allah, I'm going to die. So can I have a will of 2/3 of what I have?" The Prophet said, "No." He said, "Half?" The Prophet said, "No." He said, 1/3? The Prophet said, "Yes, and 1/3 is too much." Ibn Abbas says, may Allah be pleased with him, and that is why I recommend that whenever you write a will, it does not exceed 1/4. Though it is permissible to have 1/3, but it's best to have 1/4 because the Prophet said, alayhi salam, 1/3 is permissible, but it is a lot. So a quarter would be a much better choice for him. So you can do this. Can I write a will for someone who would inherit me? Can I write a will to my father and say 1/3 of my inheritance would go to my father? No. The Prophet said, "La wasiyyata liwarith." There is no will to someone who is inheriting. So I cannot write any portion of my money, of my wealth, to my son, to my daughter, to my wife, to my mother, to my father. They are all inheriting by default. But can I write 1/3 of my money to my cousin? Yes. To my neighbor? Yes. You can write 1/3 of your wealth to your sheikh. I'll be more than happy to accept that. So this is permissible, but you cannot give any part of your wealth as a will to someone who is inheriting you. The sunnah is to have 2 witnesses. Of course, nowadays, in writing and proving or sealing it, this also does this. I think tomorrow we would have the brother, the legal person, to talk to you about the aspects of dying. Maybe you could ask him about how to authenticate a will here. We move on to number 9. We've gone through this. Number 10. It is not permissible to be unfair or unjust in giving your inheritance, or in writing your will. How would someone be unfair in writing his will? In Saudi, I don't know about you guys. In Saudi, we have a problem with our in-laws benefiting from the money we leave behind. So a lot of the men would probably be unfair in the will to deprive their daughters' husbands from benefiting. So if I have daughters and they're married, I've worked all of my life to gain this wealth of mine. If I die, portion of it would go to my daughter, and hence their husbands would benefit from it. And therefore, I scratch them off my will. And this is forbidden. A lot of the Muslims would do something to deprive their wives. And that is why in Islamic law, if a man on his dying bed divorces his wife, his divorce is cancelled. Why? Because why are you divorcing her? You've been with her for 40 days, for 40 years. He says, "Oh, don't remind me. I'm dying now, and this is the only way I can get even without her punching me back." So I'm dying. She holds his hand. "Oh, my love, you're dying. Don't leave me." He said, "You're divorced." He dies. So the scholars say, no. This divorce is not applicable. She inherits, and she's still his wife. Why is he doing this? He is doing this to harm her. And the Prophet ﷺ forbade from this harming people. La darar wa la dirar. Some people would exaggerate and write more. For example, we have people having 3 or 4 sons. The biggest son, the oldest son, is running the business of the father. And the father loves him. The remaining 3 are useless to him. So when he dies, he writes in his will that half of the company belongs to my son. This is not permissible. Being fair is essential in Islam, because Islam is built and based on fairness. I have 2 sons. Can I give one a gift and not give the other one an equal amount of gift? Abadan. Do you do this? A lot. Yes. If you have 4 sons, and one of them is the highest in grades, he comes in the first place in his school, and the rest are normal. Do you give him something to honor him? Yes, right? You buy him a bicycle, and the other 3 you don't buy them anything. Is this fair? No, it's not. Is it haram? Yes, it's haram. You can't give any of your children gifts and you have to be equal in them. It's different when you're supporting them or you are giving them something to live by. I have 4 children, one in the university, one in the high school, and the last one is in elementary school. The one in the university has a car, so I give him pocket money, 50 dirhams, for example. The one that goes to elementary school, I give him 4 dirhams. It's more than enough. Is this being fair? No, this has nothing to do with fairness. This has to do with what is needy, their need. But when I give them gifts for Eid, I buy the eldest one in the university a watch worth of 2,000 dirhams. And the one in the elementary, a bicycle worth 200 dirham. Accepted? No, this is haram. A gift, you have to be equal. Likewise, if you have 2 wives or more, one needs a cesarean operation for delivery. I pay 20,000 dirhams. The one is natural delivery, 3,000 dirhams. Does she call for the balance? Give me the 17,000 in cash? No, this is something different.